And welcome back to Mike Ferry TV. It is the week of May 25th. Time is flying by, and the good news is the difficult times we've all been facing from the 1st of March through the end of April are getting better and better. They're improving. Markets picking up. You're seeing that in your offices if you're working. You're seeing that in the transactions in your local Board of Realtors. So, I keep saying to people that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and the light is getting brighter and brighter in our favor as real estate professionals. In fact, I hope that the tunnel is wide enough that as this train comes racing back with buyers and sellers, we have enough room to step aside and not get hit by the train. So I had a very interesting conversation this past week. I think it was 45 people on the phone, and we were chatting about the market and how to deal with the market. And we were talking about the fact that, it seems to be a very difficult time, not only physically, mentally, and emotionally, but it's a difficult time to get people re-engaged in the work as real estate professionals. A lot of people really around the 1st of March started backing off the business for fear, and those fears were real, so let's accept that. But they were backing away, and they haven't come back yet into the business. So what I was talking to this group about is the fact that I said to them, I'm going to say some things that you're probably not going to like. Now, isn't that a shock? For Mike Ferry to say something that you may not like. And I am going to say a couple of things that some of you may not like because they may touch a nerve or two. It's like going to the dentist and they're giving you a shot of Novocaine, and then they start to do a little bit of drilling and it touches a nerve and boy, you jump. And you're not very happy. Well, I'm sorry that at times I'm going to say things that make you not happy, but I'm going to tell you what I think is right. I'm going to tell you what I think is the truth. I'm going to tell you what I think you have to do to be a good real estate productive salesperson in these most unusual times that we're dealing with. Now, I have to say this to you. I have been through so much worse in my career than what we're experiencing today. Because the truth is, yes, it's a terrible situation, economically, health-wise, with the people that have suffered and died because of this coronavirus. It's a terrible situation. But life is still going on, and things are still moving forward. And as we're seeing in the month of May, businesses are opening up. Yes, there's social distancing, we're wearing masks, we're wearing gloves, we're being careful, we're disinfecting. But this is going to be our life for a while. So we have to learn to live with the circumstances that we have. And in real estate, for some reason, we think it's okay to stick our head in the sand and not do anything. And then we think that everybody should feel bad because we're not doing anything. Now, the truth is, nobody is doing what they possibly could do if everything was at this level. Yet at the same time, as I said to this group last week, why is it that about 10% of the agents are really doing well during this pandemic and 90% are not doing poorly? They've disappeared. And you're seeing that whether you're a broker, a manager, an agent. You're just seeing agents just vanish, gone. 2007 to 2012, I don't know the exact number, but it looks like looking backwards, we went from about 1.3 million agents down to 750,000 in less than 18 months. That is going to probably happen again. Although this pandemic, we can probably see the end of it coming. It's not going to be a 5-year run like we had back in the late 2000s or 2007 to 2012, but we're behaving in many times the same manner. So what I talked to them about last week is, why is it that if I talk to 100 agents, 10 of them are saying, Mike, I'm really doing fine, I'm doing well, I'm taking listings, I'm making sales, I have closings. I don't know why the rest of them aren't. So I started thinking about it a lot. So I'm going to share with you 9 thoughts. Maybe 1 or 2 might play in your mind. Maybe 1 or 2 might apply to you. But in watching thousands of agents, which is what I get to do all the time, whether it be in coaching or in this case in our virtual events we're doing, there are certain things taking place that we have to be aware of. And maybe something I can say can either shock you back to the reality of what's going on or help you step back into the reality of what's going on, or maybe make you mad so you're going to prove that I'm wrong. In any case, as long as you're more productive everybody wins. Buyers win, sellers win, you win, your family wins, your broker wins, everybody wins. So no order of importance. Here's 9 thoughts that I've written down for you. 90% of the agents in the marketplace that you work in have quit the business mentally and physically, and they may not even know that they've left. While 10% are working and doing the business because the 90% are doing little to nothing. Don't be one of the 90%. I mean, if you're doing your job. Are you putting in 3 to 4 hours a day of productive work during your home isolation? Are you attempting to put in some time? Are you talking to your past clients, centers of influence? They're open to conversations, and they're open to conversations because, as I've said in the past, everybody is answering their phone when the phone rings because they're tired of talking to the wall and talking to their dog. So you're going to get a much better response. So don't be part of the 90%. So it starts with the commitment. I'm not going to be part of the 90%. I wrote down number 2. The 90% don't believe there is business to do. And because of that belief, they're correct. Now, think about that. The majority of agents don't think there's any business to be done. And yet, when you look at the Board of Realtors that you're part of, when you look at even the company you're part of, business is being done all over North America every single day. And it's being done in substantial volume. But if they don't believe there's any business, as you've heard me say in the past, when you don't believe in yourself, the vote is unanimous. I wrote number 3. They're often playing what I call the, in quotes, poor me game, because they simply refuse to understand that the rules of the games that we're playing today in real estate have changed, and that we all have to play by the same rules. We're not calling on for sale by owners door to door like we used to. Can't do it. Unless you have a 6-foot arm for social distancing, you're not going to be knocking on doors talking to people. You're going to be using the phone. You're going to have to be a lot stronger in your presentation skills. You're going to have to learn how to make a virtual presentation to a camera. Watch, the rules have been changed. We're all playing by the same rules, but if you don't think those rules apply to you and you have that poor me attitude, guess what? You're right. Nothing's going to happen. I wrote down number 4. The 90% are living in the past. Boy, we can't live in the past. 2012 to 2019. Straight upward trending market all over North America. 90% haven't caught on that the world has changed and they haven't moved forward, so the results are not what they want them to be. Fascinating, isn't it? Okay? We still think it's 2016. It's not 2016. The world has changed, and in most cases, it's changed in a permanent basis for all of us on how we're going to operate in real estate. I wrote down number 5, the lack of discipline to fight off the negative thoughts, which everybody has, which stops you from producing. Folks, everybody has negative thoughts. We hear about the fact that people are sick. We hear about the fact that people, are passing away because of this terrible disease. We worry about ourselves, our family, our friends. It's called normal. The question is, how long are you going to be virtually wrapped up in those negative thoughts? See, if you lack the discipline to fight off the negative thoughts are going to run your life. Number 6, they're controlled by the environment versus standing up and taking control of their environment. I hear this all the time. Mike, nobody in the office is doing anything. Nobody is doing anything. I go, how do you know? The office has been closed for a couple of months. Well, nobody's doing anything. Well, how do you know you're not part of anything? If you've been hibernating in your house and talking to yourself in the wall and your dog, you don't know what's going on. See, if the environment is controlling you and you've lost control of your environment, guess what? Nothing's going to happen. Number 7, they actually believe that this crisis only applies to them. I call this a reversed ego problem. Instead of saying that I am so much better than everybody, they're saying that they are so much worse off than everybody else. Folks, those that are unemployed, gosh darn it, that's a tough situation. Those that can't get their rent reduced or they can't get forbearance on their payments, that's a tough situation. It's happening to people all over the world all the time. And if you're thinking this only applies to you as a real estate professional, it's going to be a tough time, okay? Number 8, they've given up on the goals they've set, for the year, therefore they've given up on themselves. One of the questions that keeps coming up is this: should we lower our expectations as this continues? And I'm saying no. You don't lower your expectations, you raise your standards. You work to improve the quality of what you do every single day. And then number 9, I wrote, you have to recommit to yourself, you have to recommit to your family, you have to recommit to your clients, and if you don't do that, nothing is going to change at all. It's a tough situation. I wish I could say it was easy. We have employees that have children and they can't come back to the office to work because the children can't go to school because the schools are closed, and they can't have assistants. They can't have people come into the house because of the obvious coronavirus. There's some difficult circumstances everywhere that you go. It doesn't matter what country, what part of the world, what state, what province you're in, it's difficult circumstances. But the question is really very simple. Are you going to keep letting the circumstances run your business, your life, your financial life for your family and yourself, or are you going to take control? Now, you can say, well, I don't like your message. Fine, turn it off. Okay? I don't think you're turning off my message has any effect on me, because it doesn't. But turning off this message could have a big effect on you. So watch it every day for the next 3 or 4 days, this message. In fact, watch it 2 or 3 times a day. In fact, if you're going to get angry at the person in the mirror, because you have an opportunity to do something, because most people aren't taking advantage of the opportunity. Let me close with a thought. Earl Nightingale, one of my heroes, my mentors. We can only help the people who want to help themselves. Earl used to repeat that all the time. We can only help the people that want to help themselves. We're here to help. There's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot of services we can offer. There's a lot of free stuff you can get from us if you want to take advantage of it. But for goodness sakes, don't get mad at your broker. Don't get mad at your company. Don't get mad at agents in the office. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the guy or gal in the mirror, and then get back to work and do your job. You're qualified. You have the skills. You can change your mindset, and you can certainly do it better than you have in the past. If you're not going to finish May strong, let's make sure we start June really strong, because we can do that, and we can do it starting today. Thanks for watching.